We were in a situation where we needed somebody to make a play, and Sam has a lot of trust in our wide receivers. Saw the one-on-one situation, said, you know what, I'm going to give my guy a chance and put him in a jump ball situation, and that's where Darius is at his strength. He's such strong hand catcher. We've seen him high point several balls over the last 2 years, and he came down with a huge play for us.
JJ, how would your groin be trying to do what Adoree did on that
Yeah,
sideline?
I wouldn't be here to talk about it. But Coach, and I go back to the Juju play, and trust me, I know it was unselfish. I told you after the game, I wouldn't have did it. I'll be honest with you. But what was the vibe of the team? Did they give him a hard time about it? I'm just curious.
No. Even in the team meeting today, we patted each other on the back because when you look at it, you run it in the end zone. That's an 11-point ball game, and there was a minute 50 left on that clock. That's a lifetime in college football. You score a quick touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick, it's a 2-score game. So, to be able to be unselfish, get down, let's run the clock out and get out of here. I thought it was an extremely headsy play. It's things that you go through in training camp, those situational football aspects. You hope they remember it in the game, and just a veteran move by a really special player.
Yeah, JJ mentioned the turnovers. You had the 3 fumbles in the Utah game by 3 different players. This one, it sounded like we talked to you post-game. You sort of characterized it a little differently because of the 4 turnovers. 3 of them were coming from the quarterback position, so a little easier for you to target as you try to fix it going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Justin had his second fumble of the season, and it was basically him trying to switch arms to be able to stiff arm a safety and got caught from behind, which we don't promote switching arms, keep it in the same arm. When you look at Sam's, there was 3 turnovers by our quarterback, and just a competitive kid trying to make a play getting in the end zone. We talked to him 2 ways, 2 reasons why. One, protect yourself by sliding.
Right.
We've got a lot of value in you, buddy. So get what's there and get down. He's got to learn that aspect because he's ultra competitive. But 2, he's got to do a better job of by getting down. He's being a ball security quarterback. And if you get put in that situation where you got to make that first 2 arms on the ball and let's handle it the right way.
See, he has a little John Jackson in him. He saw the end zone. He's not turning away from
sliding.
that. He's not turning away from that. Coach, let's talk about the offensive line. I mean, it's we were all over them after the Alabama game, and now it becomes a very silent subject. In particular, Chad Wheeler. I mean, he's a left tackle. He's protecting the quarterback's backside. Talk about the offensive line first, but also the play of Chad Wheeler because he had plantar fasciitis. I have plantar fasciitis, and I can tell you that's another thing. I wouldn't be playing with plantar fasciitis, but he is.
Well, I tell you what, extremely tough kid. It was crushing him not to be able to play early in the season, and gets back where he's able to go out there and at least fight his way through it now, and playing really good football as well as the rest of our offensive line. I look at the last 3 games. Really, we're a balanced offense because of our offensive line. You look at 181 yards in that game, rushing the ball, over 350 passing, and it's a credit because the offensive line's making the holes and they're giving the quarterback enough time to diagnose where to go with the ball, and the quarterback's doing a nice job of distributing.
You were good on that side of the trenches. You were also good on the defensive line side, and you have been for the most part for most of the season. One guy who I think has gotten better. What have you seen from Rasheem Green?
The last 2 games, he's built for these spread offenses. When you put him in on one-on-one situations, his athleticism takes over. He's getting bigger, stronger, 280 pounds now, and really a tremendous amount of quick twitch. And his last 2 ball games by far have been his best ball games at USC. And our defense right now is kind of leading the way. They're doing a great job of taking another quarterback who we had a lot of respect for, getting him off his spot. 4 sacks, a lot of hits, a lot of hurries. Even the interception that Adoree makes is credit to him having to be flushed out of the pocket and making a poor decision of putting the ball up.
Well, we have a major injury to a very good player in Justin Davis. Can you give us a status? How's he doing? And, all Trojan fans have their fingers crossed that he can come back soon.
Yeah, we hope so. Obviously, a high ankle sprain, as we know, for a skilled athlete, a running back or a receiver, it's hard. to being realistic for this game, I think it's going to be hard. The good fortune is we do have an off week prior to Cal, so Justin's an extremely tough kid. He's usually a quick healer, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. He was off the crutches today in a boot, which is good, but I think he's a little bit of ways away.
You know, talk about his play though, because it seemed like when he was in the game, a lot of good things were happening. When he left the game, all of a sudden it became a little bit of nervous time. He's sort of like the security blanket for the offense. And anytime you need a play, he just seems to make it. What is it about him this year, even better than last year, which I didn't even think I'd be able to say?
Yeah, his cutting right now, his ability to, when things go bad, even you saw the Mike Backer on the outside zone just run scot-free one time. He puts one foot in the ground, immediately stops, let him fly by, and goes and makes 12 yards. You know, right now he was a runner that everything didn't have to be perfect, you know, to make yards. And when it is perfect, then that's when he's going for 50, 60, you know. So we have some guys that can do that. They're young, and Ronald and Ced and Dominic, but they have the talent to do that. We'll work them extremely hard this week, and I know they'll do a great job in the game.
You know, it's funny. I was watching the NFL game at the Coliseum. I didn't go to it. I watched it on television, but Shady McCoy had a huge day for the Bills, and I thought, you know, Justin is sort of the college version of that. Just those harsh cuts that you always talk about. You know, Shady McCoy, one of the great cutback runners of all time, and Justin Davis, hopefully on two healthy feet, can get back to showing what he can do. All right, we got another segment with the coach coming up. You are listening to Trojans Live on Facebook Live here at the Lab. Jordan Moore and John Jackson here at the Lab, just across the street from campus with the head coach of USC football. It's Clay Helton for another segment as we get ready for Arizona and USC, a 12:30 kickoff, 90 degrees down in Tucson. That game will be on Fox this weekend, and of course right here on ESPN LA 710. And just to finish wrapping up last week's game, we're going to talk to Daniel Imatorbhebhe here in a few minutes. Tight end, you all of a sudden. I mean, people have been waiting, calling for those throws to the tight end, and all 3 touchdowns go to the tight end. Did you come in seeing an opportunity in the game plan, or is that just Sam doing a good job of throwing whoever's open?
No, I think a little bit of both. We had some opportunities where we going into that game felt like, wow, there's some matchups that we really like here. And one of them was, you saw the 4 verticals to Daniel. That was specifically designed to him and had worked well all week, and was really hoping it was going to work well in the game, and got the one-on-one matchup we wanted. Right call at the right time by T, and Daniel and Sam hooked up, so it was really nice. You
know, the one thing that sort of stuck out to me, and Sam did this early, is he spread the ball around. 7 guys caught passes in that game. And, I mean, it was 7 guys by, I think, halftime that caught passes in that game. How important is that element from you guys, from you and T being the play callers, and also from Sam being able to distribute in terms of, you know, how much does it change this offense in terms of what more this offense brings to the table?
Yeah, I think about us over the last 3 games and how it has been distributed. I think, you know, right now we're becoming a dangerous offense if we can hold on to the ball, because what you look at, you're looking at an effective run game right now that all of a sudden you try to load the box and that thing's getting spread around to different receivers, and now the tight end. It makes it hard to control which guy to lock down. I think a lot of the skill players made really good plays in that game, and that's what we're going to need moving forward against some good Pac-12 teams. I
mentioned the Heat, another day game coming up on Saturday, but basically the same conditions this past weekend. How do you feel like your team handled it, and you feel comfortable going into a game like this?
Yeah, it's going to be a very similar situation. You know, 90 degrees in the desert's a little dry, and it should be about similar to last week. We held up good. You know, I think we're in good condition, and we've been practicing for the no-huddle teams over the last 3 weeks now. So only had really 1 IV. We IV'd Vianney at halftime, but everybody else was good. And we're substituting a lot right now, both offensively and defensively, with some depth. So I think we'll hold up nice.
You know, you guys got off to a good start. A good start. There was, of course, adversity in the first half with a couple of turnovers. But then in the second half, there was a little point there where I think the whole Coliseum was still feeling a little bit nervous, but the team overcame that. How much was that a message to the players in terms of being able to overcome adversity when adversity sets in?
Yeah, I think it's huge for us moving forward. I mean, really to be in that aspect of, you know, going in a game and you're at halftime going, gosh, we should be up 3 scores right now at least, and only be up 2, and then all of a sudden, you know, have a bad third quarter. And then there was I didn't see any panic in anybody, from a coaching staff to kids to, it was just like, hey, coach, we got it, you know, and we know that we can move the ball. We've moved it the whole game. Let's just hold on to it. Let's go make our plays, and that's what they did. They moved it down, and then they got another opportunity to win the game, and they went out and won it.
You know, when you took over as interim head coach last year, you had a pretty clear style that you wanted to play, and you said it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time to get there. These last couple games, last 3 games, are we starting to get to Clay Helton football, you know, stopping the run, running the ball, those kind of things? Is this more what you had in mind?
Yeah, I really like what we're doing, the aggressive nature that we're playing with right now. Defensively, you know, getting to the quarterback, and I think that's the key to this league is affecting the quarterback in this league and getting him off his spot. It's a passing league by trade, and if you can do that, you're going to be successful. I really like what we're doing offensively right now with the balance of the run game and the passing game. The quarterback is obviously distributing the ball extremely well. The last phase of it is to be able to secure the ball. Once we do that, I think we're a hard team to beat, we got to be able to clean up that aspect in a hurry.
You know, a decision was made to take the red shirt off of Wale Batuku, who was a 5-star guy coming in. Excellent pass rush. One of my favorite guys. I followed him at Sarah. I was actually down the sideline coach when he was playing against Loyola, and I'm telling you, I felt sorry for the other kids. I mean, he's a mountain to deal with. The decision to take the red shirt off of him, and what does he bring to the table going forward?
Yeah, we've really seen the light kind of click on for him. This happens with a lot of freshmen and newcomers that come on. It takes about 5 or 6 ball games, and then all of a sudden something clicks. And we've seen over the last 2 weeks just something click for Wale, especially in third down pass rushing. That's where we're going to use him. We really feel that through this last half of the season, trying to win a Pac-12 championship, that the third down pass rush is going to be extremely important. We've got Porter and Chenna doing a tremendous job on first and second down, but to get a pair of fresh legs in there that has a unique skill set in the pass rushing mode is going to be valuable. So we chose to go ahead and move forward with it.
Whatever their record, whoever the quarterback, or Rich Rodriguez offense is a nightmare. Really one of the great offensive innovators, of this modern era of college football. What does he do? What does he do that you've stolen over the years? What does he do that keeps you up at night?
Well, he redefined. I mean, he basically created the term RPO.
Yep.
I mean, he is the RPO master, and he does it with tempo. I mean, it is a run-first offense that is designed for the running back and the quarterback that always has the ability to get the ball out in the perimeter, whether it's quick game or perimeter screen, and they do it at a very quick pace. And he believes in the run game. Over the last 3 years, you've seen them be at either the top or near the top of rushing yardage because of what they do. I have a lot of respect for him. I remember his days at Tulane and Clemson, and he's always been a brilliant offensive-minded coach and still is today.
You know, I was reading a stat, and, of course, you've been around. This wasn't you weren't the head coach, but you've been around a long time. And the last 7-8 years, this game has been within 8 points. I mean, it never gets out of control. What is it about Arizona that gives us problems?
Yeah, there's some teams that are out there. It just seems like it's always a close game, and Arizona's one of them. And a very, very tough place to play where we're going. I think their fans do a tremendous job. We'll have our hands full. It's always seems to be a close game up there, and it'll be the little things that'll win this game. You have to be able to not turn the ball over, be able to do some of the things that we've been able to do in these last couple games with running the ball, distributing and playing great defense. And if that happens, hopefully we'll turn out being successful.
You are a self-confessed football junkie with a day game. I assume you were able to catch some Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. There were 3 games going on at once there. What's going on with this league, Coach? It's a little bit upside down. I mean, or is it just the same old Wild Wild West?
Well, I tell you, it's so ultra competitive. I mean, we just beat the number 21 team in the country, and you look at the other games. Every game seems ultra competitive. If you don't bring your A game to the park, you're going to get your butt beat. And you look up, and I'm really proud of our football team. You started in an 0-2 hole. You've dug your way out. You're 2-2 in the league right now with 5 games to go, 1 game out of first place. So we've put ourselves back in position to do some special things down the stretch here, and it starts with this game versus Arizona.
Now, who do you expect to get at quarterback for Arizona? I mean, there's been a sort of a revolving door of guys. I mean, guys have been hurt and other reasons. I mean, is it one of the situations where you have to change the game plan to prepare for each guy, or are they sort of similar?
No, we're fortunate here because when you talk about it, whether it's Dawkins or whether it's Tate or Solomon, they're very similar guys. They are very athletic, first of all. You better be able to stop the run against them because we've seen Dawkins be able to go for 70, 80 yards, very explosive. We know the type of athlete Khalil Tate is, being right here from L.A. All three do a nice job of distributing the ball also with the RPO game. So each kid they're pretty similar, so you don't have to develop different game plans for each one. So kind of very similar to last week. We didn't kind of know who was going to play, but they were similar quarterbacks. So it'll be the same this week.
All right, we're back on the road with Coach this week. The Trojans head to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats. 12:30 kick on Fox and right here on ESPN LA 710. We'll talk to the coach, of course, after that game. And then 2 more home games coming up. So remember, USCTrojans.com/tickets. Cal game on a Thursday night, and then the Ducks come to town for the first time in a while. So that one will be fun. Get those tickets and let's rock the Coliseum. Coach, thank you for joining us. When we come back, we'll talk to 2 of your players. It's Josh and Daniel Imatorbhebhe next on Trojans Live.